Yeah. Oh my God.
How y'all doing?
Uh,
Robert, my man, I understand you took yourself a little vacation.
I did. I took a
Oh my
vacation.
God, seriously, just tell him no and he'll stop.
You done with it? I don't know. It's pretty funny. Well, I just want to say hi to all the Twitch people that are here. Welcome to Sam. Thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate it. So my dad is there. Tina French is there as well, and appreciate you guys all for being a part of this early podcast. So Gil is telling me that it's in fact Elvis's birthday, so he is dressed like Elvis right now, and we had to have that moment before we went live on air because he wanted to see our reactions privately. But yeah, so we're gonna go live on Facebook in just a second, but I just had to let you guys in a little bit on that behind the scenes. Welcome in, Carly. Thank you everyone for being here. By the way, the national championship game, it's second and goal and a very pivotal part of this game. It's a minute and 29 seconds in this first half. Michigan is up 17-3, but Washington is threatening here a third and goal. So if they're able to score a touchdown and they get the ball first in the second half, they have an opportunity to make their way back into this game. So this becomes a really big stop. There looked like there was a hole there at about the 5-yard line, and it just closed in real fast. And he got down. So anyway, it'll be 3rd and 5. So we'll start here live with this, and then after this play, whatever happens, we'll go live on Facebook. And join those people as well. But I kind of want to give people on Twitch an earlier stream now, and then we can start the show. We can have a little bit more fun on a later start. And then if people want to get the early show, they can come over here. And then worry a little bit less about Facebook. Facebook has been frustrating for the last season,
Yeah.
and it's I'm kind of over them a little bit. I will still stream over there the actual audio podcast, but I do I'm not going to make a big deal and do like long descriptions anymore over there. I'm not going to link over to Twitch because Zuckerberg hates that. And so yeah, anyway, so minute 31 left in the second quarter here, 3rd and goal, and here's the play. Michigan is up 17-3 here, and it's a designed run for the quarterback, but they're down at the 3-yard line. And it's a 2-yard gain, and it's 4th and goal. I'm kind of the mindset at this point. Oh, they're letting the clock run. So it's getting close to a minute 15 seconds here. They're gonna have to make a decision here on. I think they have to go for it because you're down 17, and they are. So they're just gonna let the clock go all the way down and try to do the last, one of the last plays here of the first half. There's 9 seconds left on the play clock. 53 seconds left in the half here. And 3, 2, 1, and they get it off just in time, and they throw it, and they get it. Oh, but there's a flag. Is it going to be offensive pass interference, or is this going to count? It'll be
Oh,
interesting.
come on now, referees. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel.
Yeah, welcome in, Deadfly. Yeah, it's yeah, I should actually make Deadfly's music a VIP. It's a touchdown. Um, they've they're a part of our a group here. All right, so we did score a 3-yard touchdown. That's an important play here. It's going to take it to 9. The extra point coming with 42 seconds left in this first half. So let me start to set up the Facebook thing. But while I do it, I can talk to Anna and Gil while we set up. Anna, how's your last 3 weeks been? Yeah, we got Elvis.
It's been good, but I'll apologize for having bronchitis. So it hasn't been great this last week, but I had a really great Christmas vacation and New Year's, and enjoyed your scuba diving videos. It
Nice.
actually has inspired us to consider a trip somewhere, hopefully soon, get everyone certified and go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we should definitely talk about that.
Yeah, because most of my husband did that so much in LA, and um so many Catalina dive trips and everything. So we're big ocean people, and
So are any of you certified to,
he is. I'm not. No.
and would your kids also get certified, or is it just be the two of you thing?
Oh no, we would love to get them certified as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best things that I ever did. I mean, I went to a summer camp for scuba diving, and I thought I was going to be like a marine biologist. I mean, I really fell in love with the world below, and yeah, it's some of my favorite things to get to do with my parents. And the fact that we got to do 15 dives, and if people don't know, they can go check out my YouTube channel. But I'm doing an 11-part movie. We're done 7 parts. It's going to end up being an hour and 30 to 40-minute documentary. And when
It's
it's all
incredible.
just kind of cool. I shot so much with the brand new GoPro, and it's been really cool to go back and give myself the time to actually edit all of them before I
Yeah.
try to finish them all before the end of the thing. But I just shot too many, which is great. It was all ended up being great footage,
Yeah.
but I just no way to actually edit 11 videos in 2 weeks. And so yeah, I'm really excited. So part 7 just came out yesterday, and I think it's like one of the most beautiful videos I've ever actually made. It's got
100%. I saw it.
Zen moments and some really
Yeah.
stuff. So I hope people get to check that out. And I'm a big fan of Sharika, and she's on Twitch, and it's just been really cool to have. We have 8 or 9 different artists from all over the world participating in this, giving us music to then edit all these dives too. And so it's this cool
Oh,
collaborative thing. It's represented 3 countries in Europe, one in Brazil and South America, and a bunch of Canadians and a couple of Americans as well, including some of the Twitch members in chat right now. And
awesome.
yeah, it's been really, really cool. Let me see right here. I'm gonna log into something. Gil, while I'm logging in over here, into all this stuff, because I love how Google logs you out over time. Why don't you let us know, Gil, what you were up to over Christmas break?
Oh, well, me is me. So, I mean, lots of visiting family, running around, making merry. I was also involved. I was actually involved in a charity poker game. Something my friend Pete does. You met him. Every Christmas, it's become a Christmas tradition. A bunch of us get together. We throw as much money as we can in a pot, and the winner, or in this case, co-winners, they'll take the money and donate it to their favorite charity. I forget. I'm kicking myself. I forget what the charities were this year, but we decided on a pair of co-winners to take the money and split it between 2 charities this year. So it's about $150, I think, or so. It was raised. So yeah, that was part of it. That was
I
that was
love
pretty
that.
fun. So.
Really cool. That's awesome. I'm a big fan of like both charities and yeah, poker and playing games and doing all that sort of stuff. And that's really cool that you got to do that. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we got the 3 weeks off. I don't usually take that long of a break from doing the show. I miss doing it. One thing that's really cool is at the house that we were, they have internet TV, so they have over like 10,000 channels, including what they call Washington or NBC Sports Washington, which we know is not what that is anymore, but like
Right.
call it whatever the heck you want to call it. So and we got like a live stream, and it was high quality, and I watched almost all the games, which is crazy. But which was good and bad, obviously, because there was some
Yeah,
highs and lows. But all right, let's before we get too much into it, I'm gonna just start the podcast. I'm gonna do 10 seconds of silence, and then we're gonna start it.
sure thing.
I think it failed. We gotta love Facebook. Let me try. I'm gonna.
My screen has the acknowledgement that it's streaming
Yeah,
live.
but then it said missed API, which I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
So, but we're gonna see if we are currently streaming. Oh, it says we are live. So it doesn't even know. All right, cool. Well, welcome to episode 326 of Sports on the Hill podcast. It's the winter season premiere. We're going to talk about the Capitals, the big breaking Commanders news. There is a live Wizards game, which we will mention, and the NCAA final for football is happening right now in a close game between Michigan and Washington. Michigan jumped out to a very big lead, but Washington is clawing their way back into it. We will get into that game as well. Welcome to all of our friends on Twitch. So many people are joining us live, including Tina, Carly, Davey, and we've got Deadfly's music there as well. We'll be talking about the Ravens a little bit later. We've got a huge show tonight. We've got our hockey roundtable. We have Gil live, who's dressed part because it's Elvis's birthday. If you're listening live, so right now the score is 17-10 at halftime, and Washington will get the ball first in the second half in that one. So yeah, we'll talk about the Caps for the next 20 minutes, kind of go back in time to talk about the last couple of the last 3 weeks or so, and then we'll go more in depth about the games as we get closer to present time. We had an interesting week last week, and we'll have C4 coming in at the very end, which will be really fun. And she'll give her impressions of going to 2 games this past week. And thank you, Carly, for resubscribing. I appreciate all the subs today, and Champ and everyone for being such an awesome person. Tina French also resubscribed. Wow, they started a hype train, so I appreciate it. Champ subbed earlier, and so I want to appreciate that as well. So a lot of people in chat. We are live on Facebook. Maybe Gil, can you share that maybe to your Power Play Point podcast page, and I will do my introduction to the section, and then I will get your guys' thoughts on the hockey as well. If anyone's wondering, I'm not sharing because Facebook doesn't like me right now. So anyone's curious why that's happening. But the Capitals have had an up and down last couple of weeks. So we're going to go back in time and talk about sort of the good and the bad. We'll talk about it in sections. So we're going back to December is the last time we had a show, and they won their last game, which was at Chicago 4-2. It was the last game that we talked about. They won 4-0 on my birthday, and then won on the next day 4-2. So that was a great birthday weekend. And then unfortunately they lost the next 2 games after that last show. They lost to Philadelphia 4-3, and they lost at Nashville 3-1. So that was kind of the road trip. They started at Chicago, which we won, and then they ended in Carolina, which they won, but they had those 2 middle losses in the middle there. Gil, any quick thoughts you had on that section of games?
Yeah, just it was the end of the beginning. If that makes any sense. What I mean by that is the Caps were playing a competitive brand of hockey up to and including that point, and then right around the holidays, which is what that series of games led up to, it kind of just started to fall off a bit. So I kind of really love to know. I think the team would love to know what the hell happened between then and now. But yeah, it was. I've just noticed a big drop off since then, and it's puzzling the hell out of me. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So basically what Gil's alluding to is they lost those 2 games, and they beat Carolina in a very close game, which was a shootout. And then they beat the Islanders, which was in overtime. And then they beat Columbus, which was also in overtime. So they were winning games, but they were all very close. And then they kind of fell off the wagon. They lost to Tampa Bay 2-1. And then a bad loss to the Rangers 5-1. It was kind of a payback for that birthday game, a couple of weeks earlier. And then they continued that bad play just a couple days later in the Island. So continuing in New York, also lost that one 5-1. And then they lost to Nashville 3-2. So that's kind of what Gil is talking about. Anna, any thoughts about the end of the calendar year?
No, it's just like a continuation of that frustration of we know the chemistry is there, we know the team is there, we know the drive is there, we know the skill is there, but my God, there's no consistency with this team, and that is such a huge frustrating factor for all of, I mean, how can it not be? It's, like we're winning, we're taking out teams and it's like, and then all of a sudden we're on that other end of the spectrum and just sucking. And you want to be like, oh, okay, it's holidays or this. No, like at this point, it's like I'm over giving excuses because of Christmas or New Year's or whatever, because it's not like these guys don't know what their schedule is. It's just frustrating. So it's just for me, God, that consistency is just not there. And that's where my frustration is. Still a fan, still supporting, still watching. Obviously love last night's game and the game against the Penguins, but then like the two in the middle, not so much.
Yeah. Go. Any other thoughts on the end of the calendar year?
Well, I made something of a big deal about this, and I don't regret it because I'm still mad at them. But I was not happy with the end of the last game of the calendar year against Nashville. They did not deserve the way that ended. The fans who paid good money to
Mhm.
attend the game did not deserve the way that ended. So screw you, Toronto, for spoiling the fan experience for about 17, 18,000 people
Yeah.
because you felt like you had to interject yourself in a game you had no business being involved in. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, it was interesting because I watched a lot of these games. I ended up turning off the Rangers and the Islanders games because I'm like, I'm on vacation and I don't need to watch that. But I did watch the Nashville game.
Excuse
And
me.
I watched a lot of these close ones, including a lot of those wins. It was really cool to see that Carolina, the Islanders, and the Columbus wins all like with Zach. We were in PJs watching on the big screen in there in like the middle of the island. So I'm like, this is so cool that we can do this. So like I really enjoyed those. So it all kind of leads to this Pittsburgh game, which is the first one that I'm going to break down a little bit further in depth. It's rare that I get to watch a game in its entirety, and I kind of made time for it because I probably should have been putting Zach to bed. This is on a Tuesday, but instead I let Zach watch it with me, and I was like, oh, whatever, because we're still a
Oh,
bit.
good luck, charm.
Yeah, well, also it's still on like vacation jet lag, so it's not
Yeah.
like he was going to bed at 11 or 12 most nights, right? He's a night owl. Although he did not, he's supposed to sleep in on, he's literally impossible to wake up weekdays, but on weekends when he knows he can go down and play video games, he's up at 6:30 in the morning. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, good
all
times.
right. But he was still staying up late. So I was like, all right, we can just watch the end of this game. So, Tom Wilson, great goal, starts the game, really awesome, especially because I was reading a story in one of the Capitals groups about this woman who was wearing a Tom Wilson jersey, and some, Penguin fan immediately talked shit to them, right? They were like,
Yeah.
fuck Tom Wilson, he's a piece of shit. And then she yelled back, you are too, which I love. And then turn around and he scores within a minute in when that just had happened to her, like 5 minutes before.
She might be my spirit animal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was great. Beck Malmstein, I guess his fourth of the season. I know it was Wilson's 11th of the season. Rasmus Sandin's ninth assist, and Ethan Bear's first point as a Capital, which was quick. Beck Malmstein gets his fourth assist fourth goal, assisted by Nick Dowd, his third. And then for Martin Ferrari gets his second. goal of the season. Dylan Strom gets his 9th assist, and Lapierre gets his 4th, makes it 3-0, 13 minutes in. And then Ovechkin on the power play, they kind of mixed it up and put him on the other side, which later he admitted was a mistake, which I kind of love. Like he was like, everyone's like, oh, it was a drawn up play to put him on the other side. Like, no, I was drifting and I found the puck and I shot it and I scored. Like it was supposed to be a tip in on the other side. He was actually doing a shot tip going the other way, right? But it just went in, and so it's like,
Gotta
so
love it.
yeah. So I thought that was great. I was gonna
Very
say,
few people that can say that, and you're like, that's awesome.
yeah, and then so that's an assist by Sandin's his 10th, and Mantha's 6th assist made it 4-0. Almost the perfect period, like first real truly perfect period of the season, but unfortunately, Pittsburgh gets a goal. 1956. I will say that they should have potentially gotten a goal earlier in that period that was called off. That I thought was potentially a big momentum swing in this game, and we only won by 1 goal, so potentially a difference maker in the game as well. So rarely I feel like goal being called off and stuff like that has been going our way lately. So like,
All right.
I was like very thankful that one did. I'll just get each one of your guys' thoughts. So, Anna, what are your thoughts on the first period in that game?
Oh, I love it. I mean, honestly, with it being the Penguins and just, Tommy coming out, scoring, I just think that this was something I was hoping was going to be like the momentum, um, drive to keep the team like, hell yeah, we beat the Penguins and let's take on the Devils and then, let's go, and then Carolina. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but I enjoyed this game. I thought they came out strong. I thought they played well, and of course, who doesn't love to have a W in the column against Penguins?
Yeah, I'm so happy. What first period? I'll go to you next, Gil. What are some of your thoughts on that first period?
Oh, sorry, you
Uh,
said first period. Sorry.
well, I absolutely loved it because the first 20 minutes we sent those flightless birds to the Heartbreak Hotel. You gotta love it. You gotta love it when you jump out to a lead like that and you chase their goalie. And my only thought at the end was there's probably no way they hold on to that lead the whole game. Now they managed to, but I knew they would come storming back.
Yeah, I didn't have the best feeling either at that point. I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, I left that being like, I'm happy that we're at 4-1 because we're gonna need all those goals. Like I just like felt sadly that was gonna, yeah, and sure enough, in that second period, they did come storming back. I mean, I just have to, you take a step back and you talk about this rivalry, right? We've been so lucky to have seen for so many years. And we love to hate on Sidney Crosby, and and he's a whiner and he's a bitch a lot of the time, and it's much deserved. But off the ice, I actually think he's a pretty classy guy, and he's
Yeah.
developed to like a real ambassador for the sport. And we're so blessed to have both of them, be this sort of, it's incredible because like they were supposed to be the previous generation, but the fact is that they're still the ambassadors at their age, and they've been able to do this for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
It's really cool to watch. Like,
And and each staying with their team,
right, yeah, which
like
is so
not
rare in all sports now.
absolutely. And I will say, it's like we all bitch about, Crosby, because it is true, like on the ice, he is a bitch.
Right.
And but it's like, everything is against him and whatever else. But I will say, when he talks about Alex Ovechkin, there is a level of utter respect that you
Like
just
almost a
cannot
borderline friendship at this point,
100%.
because and some people are like, oh, you can't, it's the rival, whatever. Like the fact that they were being able to be such stand-up guys, never
Yeah,
had their noses dirty in anything. Like, people give Ovechkin shit for the Putin thing, but that's not unfounded because you can't talk shit about the president,
of course.
Russian, so like it is what it is, right? So I'm so impressed with their ability to do this many years later and to both score in a game for the 10th different time. And you talk about like now they've done it for decades, where they've lived up this hype, where they're on national TV, and you have to have ESPN Plus because ESPN is a bunch of scam artists, and so like like it's very because so the ESPN hypes it up, right? Because it's like to get our software to get this one big game of the year, like and because they don't care about hockey for 90% of the year, which is frustrating. Because I didn't love NBC's coverage, but at least they gave it equal billing. And the numbers are in the toilet if people are curious about the ratings, which is unfortunate because they were just finally on the rise, before this, but COVID and this new TV contract is kind of put a huge stop on that, and it sucks because I think hockey's one of the greatest sports. It's why I'm dedicating an hour to it to start right. So but it's just Canadians still love it, but it's just the American markets, it's hard. But anyway, the fact that Sidney Crosby got a power play goal after Ovechkin got a power play goal in the same game, both breaking records, both being the best at this game together was impressive. Jake Ensel unfortunately gets another one with a Sidney Crosby assist. And that's the end of the scoring, thankfully, because in the third period there was a lot of opportunities for the Penguins, less opportunities for the Capitals. And if you look at the shots on goal, we had a lot of shots on goal. We way outshot them in the first, but it became a huge disparity the other way, to the point where I believe we lost that stat overall, which was impressive with how far ahead we were at the end of the first. So that would even happen, and we hung on. And there's a lot of trash being talked about our goalies in forums over the last 3 weeks, which a lot, which is it's frustrating,
right?
But he held on, right? For all the shit that he gets, a lot of it's on the defense. People don't want to talk about that. People want to. It's easy to talk about the goalie. It's less easy to talk about all the breakaways that we're giving up in certain games and situations. But beyond that, like, he stood on his head and he won us that game in the end. And people are like, "Oh, but he let in 2 and he shouldn't have been close." I'm like, "You're in Pittsburgh. It's Sidney Crosby. He's gonna, like, all goalies are gonna give up 1 or 2. Like, like, you can't. I don't know." So, Gil, with all that being said, what were some of your thoughts on the rest of this game?
Well, jumping back, sort of a topic before. I've said this in print. I'll say it now. When Ovechkin and Crosby decide to retire, hopefully they retire together. But when they do, the league should. Well, I hope they bend on one knee and kiss both their asses, literally. Is how I feel.
They say the sport.
They say yes. In not to put a too fine a point on it, but yeah, they saved the league. They saved professional hockey, because when they went into yet another lockout and lost the whole season, those two hadn't come into the league yet. They had not showcased their skills. When they did, they made hockey relevant all over again. They made people fall in love with pro hockey all over again. Yeah, they did. Those two, and nobody else.
It's a pivotal point, because if they had not, I don't know if it would have survived in the same way. Maybe it would become like, what MLS is right now, it would not be what it is today.
Every night, every game was a, can you top this, Sid? Can you top this, Ovi?
Yeah.
If Sid would have 4 points, Ovi would have 3 goals. That kind of thing, back and forth. And we hockey fans were the beneficiaries of that. And so was the league. So again, we're blessed, and it's both of their talents. And I love both of them getting their due. And both of them come out and saying, "Hey, look, don't forget about us. We're still here. We're still relevant. We still deserve some respect."
Yeah. And I love that they're changing their game, right? Scoring more, and Ovi's passing more. It's the opposite. There was this whole entire narrative between both of them, right? That they were both kind of one-trick opposite ponies, right?
Right.
One, the setup guy, and the other guy is the goal scorer. But now they're proving in their old age that they're not, that maybe some of the skills that they once had, Sid's crazy passing, maybe it's not as much there, although it was still in, I saw it in the game. and then maybe Ovechkin scoring, but then again, you see it in this game. He's still got a lethal shot. He can pull it out whenever, and he hit so many crossbars over the previous
Yeah,
3 weeks, right? And over
ridiculous.
the season, so many goals have been called back. He's had the most goals called back, the most crossbars, the most pipes out of like anybody. If you totaled all of that up, I don't think
Right.
there's a player in the league that would be even close. And because he's still putting up shot volume, and there's still pretty good high danger shots,
Well,
So
that's what I think is like, it's so great to watch because it's that rivalry of two players that started off as complete and total badasses, and we knew that this is going to be tough. And here we are, like a decade plus later, and they
17
are
years,
still
I think, right?
badasses. Like they're still awesome to watch, and they're still captains. They're still leading their team. They're still making amazing plays. So it is, in that sense, as much as there are moments on like
I
Sidney
think that
Crosby off ice. I'm like, yes, admirable on ice, admirable. I don't want to talk about it, but he's got the skills.
but so one thing that he talked about, and sort of my last point on this, and then we can move on, but is he got to play with Malkin, another Hall of Fame player, right? As much as we don't like him,
Yeah,
he has
yeah,
the
yeah,
points to back that up, right? And the fact they had two Hall of Fame players on the team versus we had one, and Nicholas Backstrom might be, but that's a tougher argument, right?
right.
And so I hope that someday that he is recognized in that same way as well. But what Crosby came out and said is, look, I had better teams in those years, not by a lot.
Yeah,
They won those
yeah,
series, and those series were the difference maker. Every one of those years, whoever won that series went on to win the cup, right?
yeah.
So it could have gone either way in a lot of those years, and
But
uh,
he acknowledges
yeah,
the amount of times like that they've won the cup versus it's not a comparison on Ovechkin's his stats and him as an individual, and that to me is like, oh my God, that's utter, that's sportsmanship, respect like no other. Because you could just sit there and be like, I have so many rings, I've got so many cups, I've got this. But you know what? He was just, like you said, acknowledging who the team was at the time, but also who Ovechkin is as a player, and his accomplishments, you know, over the last however many years, which is amazing.
yeah. So anyway, I'm happy we got the win because it was obviously very important, and it was an important part of the week. Unfortunately, we had to play the next day against New Jersey, a really really tough team. And this game started poorly and continued. I mean, I'm happy.
Poorly.
Yeah, I'm happy that Connor McMichael scored, but then it became 3-1, and then Kuzi scored, and then Carlson scored to tie it up. And I thought that things, were going in the right direction, but then they would score 3 goals in a row. The backbreaker is the one at 1944 in the second period, just because it gave them a lot of momentum going into it. Especially it was just a minute after John Carlson had tied it up on the power play. Kuzi did get his 6th of the season, Carlson's 2nd goal of the season. Ovi got his 15th assist, and Kuzi got his 7th assist in this game. But just it's a really tough matchup to have to go and play that. I know it was at home, but the emotional letdown after that, and they've won almost every back-to-back game all season, and so eventually that's gonna fall off. But Gil, what are some of your thoughts on the Devils?
Yeah, I don't think the game started off as bad. I think they were in it right up until that last minute goal, which admittedly probably Hunter Shepard is looking at that and wants to have that back. And yeah, I thought they were in it right up until then, but you could literally feel the momentum drain after that. And it was one of the latest examples of them hitting the wall after the first 25, 30 minutes of play. And Anna and I made something about this on our most recent episode. In that this is something that they've run into the last 5, 6 games, and they need to figure it out. They need to not make a habit of it. this group of players, because if they do, then it's going to be ingrained in the next younger group that's coming up. And that's never a good thing. They need to nip this in the bud and figure out how to stay competitive all 60 minutes. And it just hasn't been happening lately.
Did not have control of that.
Yeah, sorry, there's a big play in the national championship game.
His knee right there. Boom. No, he did not have control before his knee hit the ground.
Whether he regained control, did he you can get it off of his hand if it never touches the ground, though.
But does it touch the ground there?
I don't know.
How it doesn't touch the ground. It's like
It's
scraping
bobbling
off the
him. All
ground.
right, so he's bobbling, and he tries to grab it and bring it in. Yeah, I think it might be the ground.
I would say ground.
All right, we'll see. I don't know if that's enough to return it, though.
Sorry.
So it would be a big interception because Washington's starting the second half with the ball, and it's been confirmed.
Oh, boo. Boo.
Why are you so against Michigan?
Rooting for Washington.
All right, fair. So all right, so I'll ask you real quickly, Anna, any thoughts on the Devils game?
No, Gil and I had a big conversation about it. That is that frustration as a fan of not seeing 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just like we've become a broken record of saying that, but this was a true example of how do you beat a team like your biggest rival and play, good. I'm not gonna say great hockey because we started off great and then almost lost it. And then go into the Devils, and it's like I get it, but a different team, different dynamic. But why can't we just be consistent? And that's like, of course, the $1 million question for all sports teams across the board. But for our team, it definitely seems like we're up one, down one, up one, down one. And it's like, come on. And I feel like what I said with Gil on the weekend was I felt like Hunter Shepherd had his one homecoming like out, got that amazing first game. Okay, check that box. And then this was a shit game for him. It wasn't pretty across the board. Check that box and move on. Okay, we've got the good game, the bad game, and now let's just run a consistent game.
Yeah, I think he's had a couple of games, right, that he's given up a bunch of goals. I think that was like his third or fourth game, I want to say.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think I was just thinking like, okay.
No, I agree, but I'm thinking that the average, though, he's not. People have been saying, "Oh, just run with him and demote Darcy or something," right?
Oh, right.
A common thing that I've read, but
and that's not what it is. It's like we had to get these. I want to say on a positive note, like get like, okay, you got these shit games out, you realized it.
It's still the same defensive problems that we're seeing with Darcy.
100%.
And that's
so that's why, like, I won't ever put it all on the goalie, but it's like, okay, well,
it goes both ways. The goalie is gonna have to make some big time saves, and the defense has got to show up in front of him. So
100%. Yep.
You got to do both sides. With that being said, I am going to bring in Cheryl Ann Forrester because she was actually at the next two games that we're going to talk about. And
yay! Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, Cheryl. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to see y'all.
You too.
Finally getting over the creeping crud that's been going around.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah.
You still have it?
Yeah. Everybody seems to have something. My bosses all had COVID, and I was like, I'm happy I left the country. I was like, get out.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah. Now I'm scared too. But anyway.
Yeah, I missed 3 days of work after Christmas, and then I was like, and then Thursday, the day before I left to go down to DC, I nearly passed out at work, so they sent me home.
Oh my God.
And I was like, man, and I slept pretty much all day, but so it was better Friday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously. So
that's good. Well, this game probably did not help your sick feeling.
No, not really.
So, unfortunately, it started off well. Nick Dowd, 5th goal of the season. Dylan Strome on a beautiful power play goal. His 14th of the season. Ovi's 17th assist. We're talking earlier about how many assists he has, and John Carlson's 19th assist. Ovi's, by the way, is trying to push for people to vote for John Carlson for All-Star and not for him because he wants the rest.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him. He's been to more than anybody else that's currently in it.
Yeah. He said he was happy not to get automatically selected this year. So
Yeah.
But do you vote for Carlson or do you vote for Strom?
I haven't voted for anybody yet, but
Well,
I
you
would
can vote for both.
Strom.
So if you're a good Caps fan, you vote for both of them, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm just like, we don't have
Oh,
to.
I didn't know if you could only have
No,
one.
no,
Okay.
you literally
No.
look at all the positions. So
Gotcha.
I think
Well,
you can vote
true,
for as
yeah.
many as you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, you can vote as many
Getting
times
after
as you want.
Cat.
So if you want to spend a lot of time on Twitter or X, you can vote as many times as you'd like.
Okay.
But yes, I think people should vote for both Strom and also John Carlson. That's
Yep.
what I would like to see, because I do think that the Strom deserves it the most. I am happy Tom got in, hometown, things like that. People forget Strom's not from not that far away. So like for him it would be returning back to his roots as well. So what a cool story, and he deserves it, and he's put it together a really great. He's been our MVP in my opinion.
Yeah.
What is kind of saved our season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Brett Burns scores in the second, and then in the third, it just completely falls apart, and they score 5 unanswered goals. And so I don't have to get into that. But C4, going to that game, what were some of your thoughts?
I had a lot of fun. I was there with Lynn Christian Riegert, who has been on Gil's podcast a couple of times as well. And my friend from college, Susan Olson, my sister, if you will, and her fiance Leo. So we do every year the Friday in January when they do the Friday Sunday games. This is our second annual hockey weekend, so we're going to try and do it every year when they have a Sunday or Friday Sunday game. We're going to try and do that. So we got a room at the Mayflower. And but the game Friday night, I mean, I was in good company, so I still had a lot of fun. It was kind of fun. Lynn and I were like yelling at the guys coaching from the stand, so to speak, and the people in front of us were just not having it. They just kept giving us dirty looks. It's like, what? This is a hockey game. This is what you do at a hockey game, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was, I mean, in spite of the loss when they fell apart, I still had a lot of fun. I mean, that is like one of my favorite places to be, win, lose, or draw. It was very frustrating watching them fall apart in the third. I think there was still effort there. It's just that it's just the same thing that's happened all season. We get up with a lead and we're playing well, and then we just haven't figured out how to finish it consistently, because we did finish it the next game. So we just haven't figured out that consistently how to finish the games, like Gil has said, and we tend to, when we tie in the third period, we tend to try and play towards overtime instead of winning in regulation. And at that point, they just kind of, it got to, what was it, 4-2 or whatever. They just kind of gave up after the empty net. They just kind of gave up. So yeah, it was not the prettiest game to watch.
I'm happy I turned it off after the second period. I'm not gonna lie.
I still had a lot of fun.
I feel bad about it because usually I don't do that, but like after the second period, I had a bad feeling. When the Brett Burns scored, and
There's been more than one game I've switched off. So.
Yeah, I just felt like we were lucky to be up 2-1 after 2.
Yeah, well, after the empty netter, everyone just got up and left. It's like, nope, I'm staying to the bitter end. I don't care what the final score ends up being. I stay to the bitter end, because that's just.
We got to see a nice Dmitry Orlov goal.
I did. Oh, he got so emotional. He had tears, and me and Lynn were just like, oh, we missed him so much. Because but it was a great tribute. It really was, and he really, really appreciated it. I mean, he was really a fan favorite in DC, so it was nice. Even though he was playing for the other team, it was really nice to see him doing well. So
I'm happy he came back as a Carolina than as a Boston one. Like, in some ways, like I feel bad about it. But yeah, I feel like we're really missing him a lot. I think that a lot of people undervalued what he did.
Right. But that was really a really nice tribute to him. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the game. I mean, it was just, I was there with good company and stuff. So even though we lost and it was frustrating to watch, I still had a good time. So.
Yeah. Gil, any final thoughts on that game before we get into this better game?
Or should we say Elvis?
Elvis.
Well, it was boy, I did
I
not
don't-
like the third period at all.
Mm-mm.
But to me they lost the game with the back-to-back penalties, and
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
that was just all kinds of bad all around. I don't think they quit until the empty net goal, but they stopped
Right.
playing before then.
Yes.
And there's
Exactly.
a difference. There's a difference. That the empty net goal, yeah, that stopped everything right there. But they did not play their game. They stopped playing their game, I want to say, not long after the second period started. Again, stop me if you heard that before. And it was an effort. They definitely want to return to sender.
Yeah. And, all these people putting all those goals on Darcy. No, there were plenty of defensive breakdowns. I maybe one or two of them on Darcy, but for the most part, I don't think it was on him. I thought he played a fairly solid game, and we only had 17 shots the entire game. You're not going to win hockey games when you only have 17 shots in the entire game. So that is not on the goalie either. So that's
a good job of tilting the ice where like the majority of the action wasn't in high danger places for us, and so I thought that
yeah,
especially in the back-to-back power plays that you were talking about, Gil, like it's just you start to just lose momentum at that point, and it's just hard to
back-to-back power plays, back-to-back goals. It was
yeah, that's just hard
not good.
Let's get into this LA game. Come kind of over that one. We got Nick Dowd scoring 6 goals this season, 4:22 in the second period. Unfortunately, they get 2 goals back sort of in the middle of that second period. Then Dylan Strome gets his 15th goal of the season with Ovechkin's 18th, and Max Pacioretty's first point as a Capital. I love this back and forth with Ovi. I just everyone expects him to shoot it, obviously, and it shows his value is still there, because
he did shoot it. And Dylan hit up the rebound. So it was not a pass.
I thought it was
and actually we thought it was Ovi's goal at first until we heard Strome's goal song. So
okay, because from the replay, I thought it was a give and go where they passed it back and forth.
I don't know, because we all thought it was Ovi, because we all thought we had much better receptive crowd around us
right.
Sunday night. And actually the girl sitting next to me, it was her first Capitals game. So her friend and I were sort of explaining the ropes to her and stuff, and she was really enjoying it. And we all thought it was Ovi's goal until we heard Strome's song. So
yeah, I think it was actually Strome passed it to Ovechkin. Ovechkin fakes that he shoots it, and he passes it right back to Strome, who tips it in.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Just so fast,
I don't think live in real time you would be able to differentiate that. So that's why. I was impressed that Ovi passed it right back. That's why.
At any rate, it was beautiful.
It was a great goal. And then they unfortunately took the lead in the third. Did they score a field goal there?
Yeah.
So Washington, so it makes it 20-13 there. Washington's coming back a little bit in this. So they made it 3-2, and then just really important, Nicolas Aube-Kubel scores a goal at 8:36, and then John Carlson
was beautiful.
Yeah, John Carlson wins it. What a shot, and I'm just so happy for him. His third goal of the season.
We need more of that from him.
Aube-Kubel got the assist on that too when they gave us a 4-3. I'm so happy we won in regulation. I did not have a good feeling if that game had gone to overtime.
Well, it's funny. Most of the games I've been to this year have either gone into overtime and or the shootout. I think these 2 games are the only ones we've lost and won in regulation that I've gone to this year. And I'll be at the Seattle game on Thursday.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So, but that was a much more fun game to watch. We kept playing. I think we had 34 shots on goal, was it? I don't have my phone in front of me, so I don't have the app pulled up.
Mhm.
But a much
34.
better 34. Okay.
34.
Much better effort, much better. I mean, there
Well,
was only
it wasn't like as like crazed tense, you know. I'm not gonna say they were where we love when we see that they're out there having fun and they're
Mhm.
relaxed and you know it's
Yeah.
they're doing it. But it was I agree, it was a fun game to watch, and
Yeah.
it was nice to see you know, I don't know, Obey Kubel. Like I know everyone's given him shit before, but I like
Yeah.
I like 96 and I like Protus, and I'm like, you know, I'm liking what I'm seeing. So it
Yeah.
was good to see. It was not liking the Tommy nose pictures I was seeing afterwards, but that's okay.
Yeah, that wasn't good. And then I don't know, did we hear anything about Faravari? I don't remember seeing him come back into the game when he got slammed into the boards.
I thought he
I
did.
think he
Oh,
did.
you come back
I'm
in.
pretty
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw him back on the ice.
Yeah, I think so
Okay.
too.
Because he was hurting pretty bad, it looked, but okay, good. I was focused on other stuff, so
Of course, yeah.
I don't always see exactly who's on the ice at any given time. I'm more focusing on where the play is, so I don't, if they're not involved in the play, I'm not really paying attention to who else is on the ice. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he came back luckily.
okay, good. Good. That's the last thing we need is him out again.
I know. My God.
We're running a little bit short on time, so we're gonna have to finish up this segment. But I mean, you know, I
Yep.
could talk hockey for like hours.
course.
But Seattle, Thursday, it's 7 o'clock game that C4 is
Mhm.
going to, which is
Yep.
awesome. And
I'm getting my little Sunny Milano Chia Pet.
oh yeah,
Oh,
right,
cool. Is that one?
It's Chia Pet night. I'm going because we're playing Seattle,
right.
but it
You're not going
happens
to
to
see a
be
bet, so yeah, right.
no, and that
No,
actually
most
is
importantly,
that will probably be the
Cheryl.
last game I go to for a while because I'm going to Miami at the end of the month, and then February 7th I'm having rotator cuff surgery, so I won't be able to get out much for February and March. So
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if you were going to the country music one, because that Lindgren picture of the hat
oh
is
yeah, no, I'm not going to
hilarious.
that one.
And I will say I had such a laugh like yesterday because Joby and Locker were, you know, talking about it and they showed it. And, you
Mhm.
know, Locker's like, oh, hell yeah, we're gonna be wearing those. And Joby's like, no, we're not. And moving on. It was just the
Joby
way.
won't. Locker would wear it. Joby, no.
Oh, 100%. And I love that. And it was like, it had me crack up because I was like, that would be Gil and I. Gil would wear it, I would not. And
Yeah.
that's just, yeah. So it was comedy, you know, a perfect timing and everything. So I wasn't sure if you were to go to that one. But the Chia Pet
No,
thing,
I can't get to that one.
I watched it behind the scenes. Sonny Milano, like you know, for the commercial and
Mhm.
what a good sport. He's just a
Yeah.
good guy, and we're
He
all
says his
pulling for him.
family all wants one. Everyone in his family wants one.
Not.
Hilarious. They're gonna become collector's items.
I'll send a picture of it when I have it
Please
growing.
do.
Yes. So we have a back-to-back against New York, both 1 o'clock games on Saturday and Sunday next week, which is terrible for watching, terrible for like I think we're gonna not do
Yeah.
well, like terrible in a lot of ways. So
Mhm.
I'm not particularly looking forward to that. So I'm
No.
hoping you bring good luck on that Seattle game because the Ranger double dip is oof.
Yeah.
I don't like the second game is in New York too. Like if I anything, I
Yeah.
wish it was flipped, right? You know, and so
Mhm.
but so that'll be interesting for sure, especially with all of the other football stuff going on. And yeah, so Gil, your quick thoughts on Seattle and the Rangers.
Well, before that, look, Los Angeles, they got some weird people out there. They might think they're the kings, but there's only one king.
Robbie,
And
stop him.
and my and my hockey team beat those Kings. And seriously though, a season sweep 2-0 against one of the better teams in the league makes you believe that this team can play very well, and they can. Although giving up 40 plus shots,
Not so
but
much.
they're going to, and that's going to be important because they're going to face a similar team that plays a similar up-tempo game in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they're not that Cam Talbot is a slouch, but they're going to run into a hot goalie if they start him. Joey Decord, who's coming off some big wins, especially in a shutout in the Winter Classic. ASU grad, by the way.
That was a great game, by the way. I know we don't have time to really get into it, but that's so cool to see.
It's a pretty good game. Yeah, he was really great in that. So they
And
really need to be careful
he was
in
good
that
in
one.
Coachella Valley last year. We saw him play against
Yep.
Hershey. So
Yeah.
So they're really going to need to up their game for that. And then the Rangers home and home. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what team will show up. I'm hoping that the team that played them earlier in the year, but you never know. So that's going to really determine. And then they finish out. They do a quick 2-game homestand, and then they go out west again. So yeah, it's but that Rangers back to back this coming weekend is going to be telltale, I think.
Yeah, I'll be happy if we win of 2 of. I'll be happy if we win 2 of 3. I think it'll be more like 1 of 3, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I kind of unfortunately feel the same way. That I think we'll maybe win the Seattle game and lose both Rangers games, but it depends on whether if Lindgren can play in one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he'll be back by. I think he'll start the tail end, the 14th.
Yeah, I think if he plays that game, we may surprise people and win that one. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost at home and won on the road.
It feels like that kind of a year.
Yeah. We've done better in the second half of back-to-backs too than we had.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Hopefully that trend continues. Well, with that, I'm going to bid you all farewell. I appreciate the hockey talk. It's been 3 weeks. I'm happy to see that we're still right in the thick of things. We didn't play ourselves out of it. We didn't play ourselves into a better position. We kind of meandered our way into where we are right now. But there's a lot of teams and a lot of games left to play. It'll be interesting to see how we do. And one last big congratulations to Tom Wilson for making his technically his second All-Star game, but his first one on his merits alone. And I think that is such a big thing for him. And man, there's so many people around the league that must be so upset right now.
Let them.
Who cares?
But it makes
That's
me
right.
happy. So thank you guys so much. Definitely go check out the Power Play Point podcast. Go to SportsOTHP.com, click the podcast partners button, and you can click on and check out their latest show with Anna and Gil. And next week we'll hope to have some of you guys back on, and we'll talk about those Rangers games and the Seattle game, and look forward to it.
Sounds great.
Sounds awesome.
Have a good night. Have a great rest of the show.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh boy. Yeah, good job. All right, so let me see if I can get some of the graphics up here. We're gonna get a DC